What's up, SFL? It's the Midnight Ryan coming to you for Week 13 action. Yes, it's Week 13. We got 2 weeks left and not looking great. A big fail. Yes, I had a bad loss this week against Adi. My team played awful. His team played okay, not too bad. But overall, we're getting ready for Week 13, and I've got to play the space between. I need the wins both this week. I need a lot to happen, which we'll get to you in just a second. So, looking at the consolation bracket now, but let's see what happens. So let's look at the matchup. As you can see, he had Tua and Taylor both had pedestrian weeks. Gordon had a pretty bad week. Elliott got a late touchdown that kind of hurt, but not a great week. What really hurt me is T. Higgins went off. Kevin Bourne with 2 touchdowns. Gesicki didn't do anything. I mean, really, his team didn't do that much. My team just did nothing. As you can see, Trevor Siemian had a terrible game. Garoppolo had a game in which they just managed the clock and ran the ball, which is what they do. Burrito was a shining star, even though he only had 29 rushing yards. He still had a touchdown and looked like maybe the starting back coming up, maybe not. Taylor had a crazy game in which they didn't run the ball until the fourth quarter. That's when he went off. Ayuk, solid. Lockett, decent. Callaway did not get that lucky touchdown like I hoped. And then everybody else underperformed pretty much. So I just didn't have a good week. He had a decent week, and he won. So congratulations to Adi for winning the division. Now, as he can say, he can rest his players, but not too much, as he needs to get that bye, either 1 or 2, so that he doesn't have to worry about it. We'll talk about that as we look at around the league, though. We had Deontay Johnson losing to my ball, Zach Ertz. That is a huge comeback for him. I believe he was 2-5. He's won 5 straight. Huge. Right there for Sean. If you look at Queen of Thorns, they won again this week, beating Ligaments of Steel, basically taking Ligaments of Steel out of the playoff race. King McGee lost again. Magic School Bus 6-6. Elderly Gangbang is fighting hard as he takes over or gets back into the playoff race, taking out Spreading Disease. Where now Dylan, as you'll see later, is in first place. And then finally, the space between and Chalupa Batman, probably the best matchup of the week, with Chalupa Batman taking that one. She has a chance this week to get closer to the playoffs as she takes on Adi. And you'll see in just a second as I take on the space between. But before that, let's look at the midnight playoff update. The standings are seen here, and as you can see, last seen 2 hours ago. Nice job by me with my little snippet. Magic School Bus has the first place in the Walters. In the Donnies, Gabriels has clinched the division. Queen of Thorns has clinched a playoff spot. So that's the only 2 people that are legitimately in the playoffs currently. Everybody else is kind of in, but we'll see. The playoffs looks like this right now. Queen of Thorns, even though they haven't really locked up the division, they have locked up a playoff spot and are the number 1 seed. Gabriel's is the number 2 seed as it stands. My Lanta, My Ball, Zach Ertz is now 4 with Deontay Johnson. And Magic School Bus and Spreading the Disease, they are both at 3 and 6. Basically just switched places because now with Dylan leading the division. But there's a lot of things to happen in the upcoming last 2 weeks. And before we get to those last 2 weeks, what happened in transactions? Not much, other than I can't believe no one picked up Chalupa Hubbard. I tried for him but had no money, and D-Haas got him. And so now Chuba Hubbard's there, and he's the starting running back. So nice pickup by D-Haas. Kenneth Gainwell, he got picked up. I picked up Jack Doyle. Gardner Minshew by Melanta My Ball, Zach Ertz, because it might be starting this week. So some low-key pickups that could really help you in the playoffs / and, of course, our other round or consolation bracket. But so I'm not done I got to win 2 games. If you look at the standings, if I win the next 2 games and I finish 7-7, that would mean that Chalupa Batman, let's say that she wins against, Gabrielle's, but then loses the space between, that would be the death sentence. If we're all tied at 7-7, I will have the worst record in the division, as well as the lowest points between the 3 teams. So I need Chalupa Batman to win out. I need the space between to lose out, and I need to win out. So that's a little bit tough for me. As we look at spreading the Z's, he's got to win both games to knock me out of the playoffs. Elderly Gangbang really has to win 2 games and catch up in the point differential. Since I actually did beat him, that doesn't mean anything. So right now, these 2 guys are not my biggest issue, but spreading disease got to win 2 to get in. Deontay Johnson's basically guaranteed as long as he continues to, win one of the 2 games, but by his points, I think he's going to be fine. So it's really between myself, the space between Chalupa Batman, Elderly Gangbang, and Spreading Disease. Those 5 teams are fighting for 3 spots. Or I should say 2 spots. 2 spots. So it's going to be tight as we get into week 13. And speaking of week 13, I had to do some crafting here because our man Gary never puts his lineup up early. But this is probably what I think it's going to be. As you can see, it is going to be a murder. He's going to kill me by 30 points as I don't have much as it goes to a second quarterback. I don't know if you guys know this, but it was just announced that Trevor Siemian is not starting. And so Trevor Siemian will not be the starting quarterback tonight for the Saints. I'm not going to risk it. So I'm going to go find another quarterback, hopefully, or just make something happen. So it's not going to be a good week, but I'm hoping for a luck win. All right, SFL, it's no fun in games this week. I got to get a win. And Gary, it's getting close to the stroke of